Okay, so I have a necklace here that is broken. I have this little piece of sea glass, blue sea glass, and the tiniest hagstone. Um, I've been wearing this for about 5 years. I've never taken it off. The chain is silver, but it's unfortunately it broke. I thought I lost my little wire wrapped things. But thankfully I found them the next day. But this is snapped. Um, and this necklace was real silver and that's broken. The wire that I use on these is I can never say, don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. It's the Anasis jewellery wire. And that I buy from Amazon. And that's the wire that I use. This is not real silver. It's copper wire with a silver plate, but it is tarnish free if you keep it away from water. I never took these off, and for 5 years, and I showered in them and bathed in them, and it's pretty much, it's just starting to tarnish now, and that's after 5 years of wearing it. So this wire is really good and it will last forever if you keep it away from water. If you don't keep it away from water, it will last about 5 years before it starts to tarnish. But I wasn't bothered by that because it's sentimental. My friend, I'll have a picture on the screen. My friend, my daughter is 35 now, and when she was 11 or 12, my friend made this picture. It's on the screen with my daughter, and this piece of sea glass was added to that picture. My friend unfortunately passed away in 2020, and I took the blue piece of sea glass off and wire wrapped it to make this so that I could wear it. I still have the picture. I'm very dusty now because that's over 20 years old. And so I made this piece of jewellery out of the piece of sea glass that was stuck to this picture that my friend and my daughter made together when my daughter was a child. I might keep this one wire wrapped as it is. I'm thinking about it now, but I don't think I want to destroy this. And so I may just wire wrap another piece. I was going to undo this and put some fresh wire on it, but looking at it now, I kind of like it because my daughter's name begins with S, and I've just noticed there's this tiny little S there right above the center. It looks like an S, so I might just keep that as it is. I don't mind that it's tarnished because it's of sentimental value. And then not long after my friend died, I was on the beach and I found this tiniest hagstone. So I popped some wire on here so that I can wear it with this tiny piece of sea glass. Okay, I just went off to get a penny, but all I could find was 5 pence piece, which is about the size of a penny. So this shows you how small the hagstone is. The hagstones are lucky to wear. They're called holy stones or fairy stones. There's a description on my website about hagstones. So yeah, it's of sentimental value. I was going to undo it and rewire it. I think I might do, just to freshen it up again. I have a picture of this now, so I still have a record of this particular one, because every time you wire wrap, no two will ever be the same. But I think I might just freshen it up and then pop it on. Sorry, my dog's in the background. And pop it on one of these, and just take it on and off before I shower and stuff, just to keep it fresh and looking like this for its lifetime. So we'll do that now. I haven't made a video in a long time, so I'm not sure. Okay, so we'll make that closer. Have a guide here so that I can stay within the video, which is there, so that I don't go out of shot from the video. Okay, so I'm going to start with the hagstone first, because I haven't made any jewellery for a long time, so when you first get back into it, your confidence is gone a bit. So I'm going to just snip this wire here on the hagstone, just to take it off. And you can see the 5p piece next to it, how tiny it is. But I'll tell the story. There's more of a story to this when I make it. So I'm going to take 22 gauge because it's a thinner wire, and I think that's what I used before. So 22 gauge is thinner. Take enough wire off, just so there, just so you got enough to play with. So there's about 1/2 meter there, and then I just put the two ends. Together and find the center, and then we take the round nose pliers and then wrap the wire around the round nose pliers. I do this 3 times just for security, really. It's strong wire. I've never had the wire break on me. Unfortunately, I've had a real silver 925 piece necklace break on me. But this is quite flexible and versatile, so. Okay. And then I'm going to pop one end of the wire through the hole of the hagstone. And I'm going to pop it through the other hole, through the other side, so that it sits better. Okay. And then I'm going to take so that's on the front wire. Then I'm going to hold it in place. It's very difficult to hold the piece in place when you start. So holding it together, and then I'm going to take a piece of wire up to the front, and then I'm just going to lock that in place just to hold it together. Now that holds it a bit better. It's very difficult because it's so small. The camera might not be picking it up as well. And then I'm going to take the other wire around the other side. This is very difficult because I'm watching the camera as well. And this is not going to work like this. I think I had this difficulty when I made this. If you see on this one, I just held it in place with one piece of wire. So I think I'm going to do that again. That's probably the difficulty I had before. So I'm just going to snip this. I don't need as much wire on this because on this, I'm just going to put the wire through it once. So wrap the wire around 3 times. And then twist it in place. And then on this, I'm just going to pull the 2 wires together. Because it's so tiny, it's not really got much space to wrap with. I'm going to pop the 2 wires through the hole. And then just go up around the part that I chose to be the back of the stone. Make sure it sits right. In fact, that looks quite nice as the front. And it looks like that on the other side. So you can wear it whichever way you like. And then wrap both the wires around the hoop at the top. And then you can create a little bezel by wrapping it around the face of the hoop. And that looks really nice as the front. So I think I'm going to have that as the front and that as the back. So then you wrap the wire around the back and then just halfway across the face, you snip it off. I've lost me wire cutters now. Hold on a sec, I've put them somewhere. Okay, I found them. They were right beside me. Okay, so where were we? We're snipping off the back. Just halfway across the face, giving yourself enough to be able to tuck in to inside the bowl that you've created by wrapping the wires around. So then you just tuck these inside your bezel you made, and that will prevent it coming undone, and it will also prevent it scratching anybody. So that's that one made, and I'll put some jump rings on it after I've made the other one. So oops, it's very, very tiny. Very, very tiny. Okay, so this is the one that my friend, the piece of blue sea glass that my friend stuck to the picture. There's an image on the screen of the picture that was created. So I'm going to snip this one and make a fresh one. So we just snip the wire and make a fresh one. Now, my friend had a son that was the same age as my daughter, and around about the same time that the picture was created with my friend and my daughter. I think I'd gone to a funeral and my friend was looking after my daughter and they created this picture together. Well, my friend's son wanted to learn to play the guitar, and I had a guitar that was kicking around the house. I had a baby at the time, so I wasn't playing the guitar, and so it was just kicking around the house. It got damaged, a few strings were broken, but I never had any time to fix it up or to play it. And my friend was around my house with her son, and he had mentioned that he would like to learn to play the guitar. So I said to him, I picked up my old battered guitar and handed it to him and said, fix this up and learn how to play this and you can keep it. And I also said that one day when you're famous, you can give it back to me with your signature on it and it'll be worth loads of money, but I'll never sell it. So he went off with the guitar and he fixed it up and he learnt to play it and he formed a band, and that's what he does now. So I'm very proud of him for that, and I know his mother was very proud of him. I think I went to see him once. It's not the kind of music I can listen to as an oldie. It's very heavy music. But he's called, his band is called CryoStorm. And there's also a picture attached to the image that's on the screen of the picture that my friend created. But unfortunately, my friend passed away. It just before COVID happened in 2020. I think that was the time. It's a very sad situation. So yes, CryoStorm was created, and that all began with my old battered up guitar. So anyway, I've cut off about just over 50 centimeters of 22 gauge wire, and we're going to wrap the wire around those pliers. And whilst I was telling that story, I was taking the wire off the Seaglass, and so that's all clear now. So we twist the wire and we have a nice a nice hoop to put the jump rings in, and it's flat against it. It will be on the piece like that, and when you put the jump rings in, then the rings are the right way to put your thread through, your necklace piece through. So we look at which direction you want the front and which you want the back. So I think that's the back, and then how you want it to hang, which shape looks better. It's very difficult with something so tiny and so small. So I think I'm going to do it that way. And then it's very difficult to show on the video, so excuse my fingers being in the way. This is a very tiny piece. It's not so much a tutorial. I just thought I would film as I'm remaking this. So I bring the wires at the back, at the front, cross it over, and then we can twist those wires together. And it is very, very difficult on such a small piece. So when you're learning, it's probably better to practice on bigger pieces, and you can buy cheap wire to practice with. So we make a little bit or a spiral on here, very tiny, because and then we wrap it around the back, and I'm going to hook it around just to lock it all in place. And so far, so good. We can't really put in much more of a design on here because it's so small. But what we need to do is make sure that the wire is gripping hold of it. And so I'm going to try and get it up around the front again without putting too much on the front of the design. And then we're going to hook it around the hoop again. And then I'm going to take the pliers, the flat pliers, pair of these without the grips in them so that you don't scratch the wire. And I'm just going to grab hold of a wire and crimp it to the side. And that didn't work. So there will be quite a lot of mistakes made when you're learning, even when you're not learning. So if you turn it one way and it seems to have loosened the wire, just grab the wire again and turn it the other way. And so I'm just gripping, trying to tighten it up so that I don't lose the tiny piece. And that seems to be in there quite tight. You can press the wire down with your pliers, and that seems to be in there quite tight. So it's always the way though. Your second piece you make never seems to be as good as the first one, but I think that's all right. I can always do it again if I'm not happy with it. And so it needs tightening up in places. That can take some time to get used to doing. I think that's a bit tighter. So then we wrap the wire around the hoop at the top, scarf it a bit, and then around the back we cut the wire off. We cut the wire off halfway across the face. And then we can tuck that. See, we make a little bowl and tuck those two ends of wire inside there. This is quite difficult to do when you're starting out, but practice doesn't always make perfect, but it means practice does mean that it becomes easier. And I wouldn't worry about the pieces you make if you're going to sell them. Different strokes for different folks. So something that you think doesn't look very good, to someone else, they love it. And I always found that fascinating to watch people buying the pieces that I didn't think were that good. So that's quite a nice feeling. So, and you can always put them on cheaper. That might be why they sold, because they were cheaper. because I didn't like them as much as the other ones, or I could see the mistakes made in them. But all the mistakes that you see, someone else wouldn't necessarily see. So that's the piece, and that's the hagstone. So I'm going to put some jump rings on them. I'm going to have to grab them. So these jump rings I buy from eBay or Amazon. They're quite cheap, and I generally use the 7 reel, but only because the end of the necklace here has quite a large hoop. The end of the necklace here has quite a large hoop on it. And you need that to be able to go through. And I'm not sure if on a 6mm, I'm not sure if it goes through. On a 6mm, it doesn't go through. I'd like to use smaller hoops on this one because they're such small pieces. And to get around that, you can just open up the hoop first. Open up the hoop first, pop it onto your necklace, pop your pendant on it, and then close it back up. But just for this video, I'm going to use the 7mm and show you how to do that. So I pop the pendant on the 7mm, close it up nice and tight, and I'll put 3 jump rings on each pendant just for security. So if one happens to come undone, you still got another 2 holding it together. And that just makes sure that your piece is a lot safer and that you don't lose it. And I definitely don't want to lose this. So this time round, I'm going to take it on and off. So I'm just going to use a waxed cord rather than a silver chain. So that's the first one, and then we do the hagstone. Oh. So we want 3 jump rings. So we open it side to side because it's easier to squeeze back together rather than push back together. Open it side to side. So that's pushing them apart rather than pulling them apart. And then we pop that onto the necklace, onto the pendant, and then we have the tiny hagstone and the piece of blue seaglass. And then we take your piece, make a note at the front if you're putting 2. I'm putting 2 pieces on one necklace. And like I said, I found the hagstone on the beach. How I spotted it, I don't remember how I spotted it, picked it up, and it's the tiniest hagstone, pebble from the beach with a hole all the way through it. So getting this on so that it's facing the same way, and I've only got 2 jump rings through that one, so we'll just pop the other one through. And so the front is there. And I need the front of the hagstone because I think it's very nice like that. And so that one would go on that way. So you can hold all the rings together like that and then pop the chain through the jump rings, and hopefully they're both facing front ways, which they are. There we go. And that was how I freshened up my jewellery. But like I said, that was after wearing it for 5 years and never taking them off. So got they got put into water, and it's not much of a tarnish on the old wire, but it was starting to tarnish. But that was 5 years of swimming in it, bathing and showering in them. But if I keep taking this off when I shower and swim, they're going to remain that colour they're going to remain new looking for their whole lifetime. And that's using the Ansys jewellery wire. And I buy this from Amazon. And I generally use the 20 gauge, the 22 gauge and the 18 gauge. So the 22 gauge is a lot thinner than the 20 gauge, and the 18 gauge is thicker than the 20 gauge. So I hope you enjoyed spending time with me whilst I fix my sentimental necklace. And the picture has been on the screen the whole time of where I picked the sea glass from. And I'll pop it at the end as a bigger picture. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.